The usual disclaimer, because I will make some forward-looking statements, which this will keep me out of trouble with. So just a quick overview, a bit more detailed than I just gave you. Nuinsco is one of Canada's most experienced junior exploration companies. We've got exploration successes that go back over 40 years. We can count 7 or 8 significant successes to date. And we've got, as I said, we have management continuity that goes back that full time now. The company's publicly traded. It trades on the TSX, on the main board, under the symbol NWI. And we have a track record, have developed a track record of spinning out projects and assets to create shareholder value. The existing projects that we hold provide a platform to create value by establishing standalone companies, and that's part of our strategy going forward. And we see an immediate opportunity to create a MENA-focused pure-play vehicle. So the 2 maps that we've got up on the screen at the moment are essentially the world according to Nuinsco. We've got the Canadian-based projects over here, uranium project in the Athabasca Basin of Saskatchewan, and a rare metals phosphorus project in central northwestern Ontario. And we have a big chunk, well, essentially the entire Chibougamau copper gold mining camp in partnership with a group called Ocean Partners. And then the red dots are projects that that Nuinsco used to hold, but which have been spun out or sold into other companies. In particular, the red dot here and here are nickel projects that are now residing in our sister company, Victory Nickel, and a little bit more about that later on. On the other map, these would be the projects that we see as forming the nucleus of a standalone MENA-based or MENA-focused company going forward. 2 in Turkey, 2 in Egypt, and 1 that's currently under option and review in Sudan. So this is a fairly busy slide, but I'll quickly go through it. Basically from here to the 2000s, that's the history of exploration and discovery. So these are the various projects that, or properties that we made discoveries on. In 2007, as I referred to in the last slide, Nuinsco spun out 3 nickel projects from its inventory and created Victory Nickel. That company is now moving forward, in particular with 1 project, the Monago project in central Manitoba. It's just recently acquired licensing and permitting for this property, so it's one of the newest licensed mining projects in Canada. It's a high-quality sulfide nickel deposit, 30 million ton resource in an open pit, potential open pit, but we see upwards of 100 million tons in various zones around the project area. As I said, it's permitted, it's environmentally compliant, and what it's looking for is financing. So if anybody here is interested in a first-class nickel project in a world-class mining jurisdiction, Manitoba in Canada, come and have a chat with us, because we're looking for money. Now going forward, one too many buttons. Going forward, from 2010, 2011 onward, we see opportunities to spin out other companies out of Nuinsco, maintaining Nuinsco, and Nuinsco would then source other projects. But with the projects that we currently have, we do see, as I said, a standalone MENA-based company, or MENA-focused company, as well as possibly a company that would focus entirely on the Chibougamau mining camp. Within the mining camp itself, we currently hold 8 past producing mines, 3 of which have got resources, and another project which has been partially developed and has a resource as well. So there's a very significant opportunity here to create a company that would very quickly move into a production scenario. So where we are and why we're here is we think that there's an opportunity to create a standalone exploration company focused on the MENA region, initially based on the existing Egyptian and Turkish assets. That would be Berta and El Malan in Turkey and Bukhari and Samra in Egypt, and then grow the company through acquisition and identification of opportunities. So MENA Minerals Corporation, which currently exists as a private company, would run or own Nuinsco Madencilik in Turkey, Nuinsco Exploration Inc., which is the umbrella company that holds Z Gold, which operates in Egypt, and other companies, not just one, but other companies that may be necessary to run the program in the MENA regions. So we would start out with a proven exploration and management team that would come from Nuinsco and possibly from Victory Nickel if needed. Build on a track record of the exploration successes that we saw in one of the previous slides. It would be a focused company created from the existing assets. It already has local MENA region partners who are absolutely vital in providing knowledge and contacts and insight in how to do business in the region. Has 4 projects already acquired. Exploration is ongoing on the Turkish ones, Berta and El Malan, and we're prepared to work in Egypt. And I say prepared because we actually have been out in Egypt now on the projects in Egypt several times. So we've got a very good idea of what's there. We know what we need to do to go forward, and we're prepared to get started. We're actively examining other opportunities. In particular, at present, we're looking at a project in Sudan. We have several months in which to evaluate it, but certainly it's clear to us that there is technical merit to being in the area. That we see a tremendous upside potential in the MENA region. It's highly prospective, underexplored geology, often with limited use of modern exploration techniques. And the focus will be on exploration and development in the MENA region. So that's all good, but there are some challenges. The current conditions in the equity markets is one very obvious one. Financing a pure exploration company presently is very challenging, to say the least. Investor confidence, capital markets do not like uncertainty, and there is some political uncertainty in the region, as well as the process of obtaining licenses and properties can be slow here, and that creates additional uncertainty when going out to talk about projects and trying to fund. Prioritizing projects and objectives, it involves managing shareholders' expectations. Nuinsco, we've got somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 shareholders, so we've got a lot of bosses. And Sean Stokes, who is our investor relations person, has personal relationships with a number of them because they're very, very, very quick to call us up if they think that we are misbehaving. And market realities, of course, we have to deal with that. So all that to say that the path forward will take some patience and hard work, but that's not really any great surprise. So why are we in Turkey? Well, it has a favorable regulatory environment, secure tenure rights. We've been there since 2005. It's already a significant producer of base and precious metals, so it's got a track record of putting things into production. It hosts copper and gold deposits that are comparable with major metals producing domains such as the Andes and Southwest Pacific. And more recent exploration over the last couple of decades has established the mineral potential of the country. This map shows the locations of our 2 projects. We're very close to the Black Sea coast, very close to the Georgian border with Berta. Access is very good. This area is being extensively developed for hydroelectric power. There are 12 dams being built in that area, and as a result, the infrastructure is very good. Good roads, good bridges. There's a very good road that runs along the Black Sea coast. So access into this area is good, and El Malan is only a few kilometers south of the coast anyway, so it's very easy to get to. Berta is a porphyry copper gold project, and El Malan is a copper zinc VMS, volcanogenic massive sulfide. And all the blue boxes just give some idea of the endowment of that particular region, the Pontides region of the Tethyan Eurasian metals belt. and what is possible to be found in the local region. So Berta, as I said, is a large porphyry copper gold moly project in the Tethyan belt. Similar environment to Sarchesme in Iran, which is the world's largest copper deposit. This is a joint venture with Xstrata. Berta is reputed to be the largest, at least by volume, copper anomaly in the Turkish Pontides at 15 cubic kilometers. And at present, it's under-drilled. We have not done sufficient work to fully evaluate, anything like sufficient work to fully evaluate the project, but we have obtained some fairly extraordinary results, in particular 710 meters of about 0.3% copper, but that includes some high-grade intersections as well, so, pushing 7 meters of 3.8% copper. So there is a very significant copper endowment at Berta, and one which requires a lot more work to fully evaluate. And then at El Malam, the VMS project, we own that one 100% through our Turkish sub, Nuinsco Madencelik. There's massive sulfide breccia has been identified in outcrops at surface that grade up to 30% copper and 56% zinc. Obviously, a little bit of upgrading from weathering, but nevertheless quite remarkable values. Multiple drill intercepts with strong zinc mineralization, and these are just a couple of the holes that we've drilled. So there's certainly clear potential for a discovery, I think, on this project. In Sudan, we have an option on a 3,400 square kilometer license in northeastern Sudan, underlain by Nubian shield rocks. So, prospective terrain. There are a number of other licenses in this part of Sudan. In fact, the UAE gold concession is surrounded by other licenses. We started here as part of our process of technical due diligence with a Landsat and ASTA study, and produced the geological interpretation that you see here. Within the central part, this is the full 3,400 square kilometer area, but within the central part, there is an area called the Hammel veins, and we focused on that area because there was an obvious reason to do it. There was gold being found in the local environment, and once we went in and did our first look back in May of this year, put all the samples together, we ended up with a 324 meter interval along one of the Hammel veins. There's about a dozen veins located within this area. We had 324 meters in one vein that was grading 16.707 grams a ton at surface, over 1.34 meters. But within that, there's about 100 meters of that 300 meters that actually grades about 30 grams a ton. There are some artisanal miners out there, so we know that this vein does extend down some distance, 20 meters or so. So we see that as being an obvious target to follow up on. The work of the ASTA study and Landsat study identified 18 areas. You can see them, perhaps not too well, but you can see them on the map here as the blue domains. 18 areas which need to be followed up and which have characteristics similar to what was identified at Hammel. We already know that there are half a dozen other sites around the license that need to be checked out. We've been to a few of them and obtained results there. So there's a significant amount of work to be done here. And this is most recent work. It's actually just been completed in mid-October. We went back in, and this is the Hammel veins area. The top picture. These are some of the trenches that we recently excavated to produce outcrop and, of course, evaluate the potential for more veins and to try and map out the extent of the already identified veins. So it was a fairly significant trenching program. These trenches, some of them are a kilometer or more long. The work that was done by the contractors, the local contractors, was excellent. It was as good as anything I've seen on any project that I've worked on. And then, of course, this is this is our sampling, which we essentially sampled along the entire length of each of the trench areas that we worked. And these samples, there were 6 tons of them. We've just recently shipped to Romania for analysis. So the assays from that program are currently pending. And then on to Egypt. Why did we go into Egypt? Well, the mining laws were restructured to allow foreign investment, particularly in gold. The country's motivated to build a gold mining industry, and we get considerable help from EMRA, several of the officials who are here at the meeting in this respect. There's very prospective geology in the eastern desert of Egypt. Keep pushing the wrong button. In the eastern desert eastern desert of Egypt, so very, very prospective in the Nubian Shield in that part of Egypt. Over 100 known historic gold occurrences, demonstrably favorable geology, we think with overall resemblance to the Cordillera of British Columbia. Few foreign companies active in mineral exploration at the present time, so we're very much at the front of the queue. And there's very good countrywide infrastructure. So again, accessing the sites is not a problem, and in fact, it's some of the best access that I've come across. So a quick run through the timeline. We made our first visit to Egypt in 2009. In October of 2009, Nuinsco, through Z Gold Resources, which is a jointly owned company with our local partner QCC, entered the bid round for gold concessions. In February 2010, both the Bukhari and Samra gold concession bids were successful. And those 2 licenses alone have over 20 named gold occurrences on them, historic gold occurrences. These would be Pharaonic and Roman and to some extent Byzantine workings. September 2010, the Bukhari concession agreement was finalized, and Samra followed in July of 2011, and then the next 3 or so bullets are just talking about the field work that we've done. We've been out on site now 3 times to do progressively larger prospecting and mapping programs. And then where we sit now is that we're currently waiting for full tenure to allow us to move forward with aggressive exploration. So just quickly run through a few of the results. At Bukhari, which is one of the is the name of one of the concessions areas, but is also one of the showings on that concession area. The Bukhari license itself is 1,480 square kilometers, but this shows only a small part of it. Each one of these squares is a kilometer on a side to give some idea of scale. The Bukhari Showing, which is the red lines here are actually quartz veins that we identified from the prospecting program. So the Bukhari Showing is this predominantly north-south set of quartz veins, and you can see we're looking at about 2.5 kilometers of strike length here. 60% of the samples from taken from this domain ran greater than 0.3 grams per ton gold, and about 20% ran better than 3 grams per ton gold, while the Bukhari North Showing, which is the one that runs in this orientation, this one we think is over 5 kilometers long. About a third of the samples run better than 0.3, and about 13% run better than 3 grams. Now this one was not. This is a new one. It wasn't identified on the maps previously. It certainly was worked historically, but it wasn't identified. Whereas this is a known historic site. And then going to one of the other occurrences, the Talat Gadala occurrence, about 15 kilometers north of Bukhari, still within the Bukhari concession. We took about 350 samples from this area, and again, just for scale, the squares here are a kilometer on a side. So we're looking at about 4 kilometer strike length and about half a kilometer or so across strike. The assays peak here at 135 grams a ton, but importantly, all of the samples All 328 samples averaged 3.2 grams, 3.28 grams per ton, and that's veining and the host rock to the veining. Again, this was a named occurrence. It was worked in historic times. It's just an example of the potential that's out there. It's been hundreds, if not thousands of years since anybody has looked at it, and certainly no modern exploration conducted here. And yet, by going in and doing simple simple exploration, basically prospecting, we're very close to being at the point where we could actually start drilling this terrain, these showings. So what's next? Well, we want to obtain a tenure in Egypt that will, as I said, which will allow us to move forward more aggressively, complete the evaluation of the Jade Tabra project and determine whether it's a project that we wish to continue with, raise some money to pay for everything, publicly list the MENA-focused company on the TSX, perhaps evaluate listings on other stock exchanges if that's considered advantageous, systematically explore the existing projects that we have in Egypt, Sudan, and Turkey. We want to establish a strong presence and support in the MENA region and acquire additional projects as they come available. And certainly we're being made aware at meetings like this and through contacts of a significant amount or number of potential projects that are out there. So we've got all the tools, we think, for exploration success and wealth creation. We've got management that has a continuous history of discoveries over 40 years, experienced and diverse board of directors and management team, solid regional partners, track record with the spin out of Victory Nickel of value creation, experienced at creating pure play companies as in Victory Nickel. We think we've got a critical mass in place with the existing projects in the MENA region, and we're motivated to add additional assets and move forward aggressively. Thank you very much.